Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Madals, and this is the ESL Pro Series. Spawning down in the bottom right-hand position of this third game, representing XMG, we have Socke. And his opponent, to the left, is the red Terran representing Mousesports. It's HeroMarine. Tied 1-1 at the moment, and that is going to be stressful, to say the very least. Of course, these players are battling out in the 5th cup in order to gain points. And this is all going to matter for the group stages of EPS next week. And these first 5 cups just all comes down to trying to get those points, to get better seedings, to get a better advantage going into those group stages and stuff. So really important that these two battling out for those later spots. This is the last cup, the 5th and final one. The last opportunity to make it through. So, waiting to see what these guys are going to do in this game. We've seen two pretty decent-sized games, actually, in the first 2 maps. Going 23 minutes in that last game. And, well, all in all, I'd say this game, at least for now, shaping up to be very similar. It's going to be on one of the new maps, Catalina. And, well, Catalina's quite a nice map. Your natural base is relatively easy to hold. There's decent space up here, and off the top of my head, I think Photon Overcharge, would it actually spread that entire way? I don't think it would. I've not actually had the opportunity to cast any of these, because as I've said a couple of times tonight, I've been away for a week, and as such, I missed all of this going on. But anyway, Command Center coming down now for HeroMarine. Gonna get scouted very early by Socke. Socke adding in a pylon over to the right there. That could be up for some sneaky stuff. But yeah, I was giving you a glided tour of the map, wasn't I? So, natural base comes down. You've got 2 potential thirds. You've got one over to the left here. That's with a tight choke, but also quite a narrow area to try and defend in. You've got the one up to the right as well from Socke's perspective. That's got a bit more of a wider open space, but slightly more forward than the other base. So, pros and cons to both. 3 bases, probably okay to hold. 4 bases, a little bit more tough. It just depends on how people want to play it. Now, waiting to see what these guys are going to do, what Socke has got planned. He's only got the 1 probe in gas at the moment. Okay, now going up to 3. I was going to say, that was quite unusual only having that. What's he going to get out of this gateway? Will it be a stalker? Is he just going to wait and get warp gate tech coming down nice and quick? He could do that as well. Certainly a possibility. Not going to be any really quick warp gate tech style plays, just because obviously is chrono boosting out the mothership core. Single SCV. Coming in, gets a good little scout, takes a peek at everything coming on, and we'll see the natural bases are on both sides. Both players getting that early scout, and that's so important for them. It means that they know what is happening. They know that they're not at risk of any one-base plays. They're going to macro pretty solid now. And Socke has really macroed very well in both games. He's been able to hold on in a tough spot, going long-term in order to try and just buy the time he needs to get up that late game death ball Protoss army. He did it really well in game number 1. Game number 2 he had a much bumpier time with a couple of interesting pushes in, and while he was doing those pushes, it just really threw off Socke. He lost a lot of workers, and that allowed HeroMarine just to keep an advantage, and HeroMarine didn't actually sit back. He kept the pressure on throughout, really bringing in the pain time and time again, and that was enough actually to stop a lot of it to just stop Socke from doing much at all. So, this game, Socke starting off relatively similar, getting a very early robotics facility there. This is similar to game number 1, where he opted to get that Colossus tech out ASAP. Meanwhile, as we've seen every game, HeroMarine going up to those 3 barracks, pumping out a lot of Marines, waiting to see if he chucks down a tech lab, because a tech lab would potentially indicate a similar playstyle to what we saw last game, which was getting out Concussor's Shell, the 1 Marauder, and then going on a little expedition across to Protoss territory. No sign of that as of yet, instead of Reaper actually coming down. Now, this is pretty cool. Gonna get a nice little bit of scouting. One thing I have noted is a question from the Twitch chat. What does LE in Catalana mean? It means ladder edition. Catalana was one of the maps in the Team Liquid map making contest, basically. So now you know. Now you know what that means. Anyway, engineering bay coming down here for HeroMarine. Meanwhile, we do have the robotics bay on its way out for Socke. So just as expected, a very fast tech up into those Colossi. Is it going to be beneficial? Well, it means that he's got a heck of a lot less in terms of gateway units on the field at the moment. By a lot less, I mean he's got one gateway that doesn't even have warp gate tech. Okay, no, it does have warp gate tech. I was going to say, why hasn't it morphed in there? So now becoming a warp gate, but still very, very little in terms of that gateway production. Meanwhile, HeroMarine, he's got a good marine count. He's adding in an additional tech lab and a reactor. Has started stim first this time. He's also knocking out that factory nice and early. And what that means is that he's got the ability to obviously go up into medevacs nice and quick. It's something he didn't do last game. Last game, he went a lot slower overall in terms of that tech up into the starport, but he was able to get out that initial pressure a lot quicker. Waiting to see if this Colossus is going to be able to hold off against the brunt of this attack with the Observer there, and of course the full energy on that Mothership core. Photon Overcharge plus the Colossus should be able to stop this. Goes for the Time Warp actually. That is a bit of a bold move. It's going to try and pick up a lot of these infantry units nice and quick. So that is very nicely played actually by Socke. He does use all of the Mothership core energy, but it means he's able to crush this push moving out, picking off a good number of Marines. He didn't actually take any losses there at all and deals 775 resources of damage himself. That was a very strong play by Socke. HeroMarine though, he's starting his medevac production, adding in a couple more barracks. But Socke takes a third. By crushing that force, by really shutting it down hard, taking this third base becomes viable, because while he doesn't have many gateway units, he shut down so much of the infantry. He's just like, well, he can't move out against me, at least not with anything that scary. I'm going to have my second Colossus out on the field. I've got a War Prism ready to start harassing. I'm adding in more gateway production now. So with all of these things tying together, actually, this is a very nice position for Socke. This third base, I don't believe HeroMarine is going to be able to shut that down anytime soon. And that could be a problem, especially if this War Prism is able to find a bit more harassment, find a bit more damage early on. Waiting now to see if HeroMarine decides to go for this. Looks like no, he sees the two Colossi and just turns tail. The War Prism's still waiting. The additional gateways not yet coming through. Note there was a quick little scan. Where did that scan actually even go? Am I being blind here? Oh yeah, just here, pick off an Observer. So not going for any scouting super fast on terms of the bases. He should know that this third is up despite not seeing it, just because the army moved down from this area. So quite a nice easy scout there. A lot of information. HeroMarine gonna beat Socke to the punch though, in terms of going for the drop play. Two pylons in position. Socke will scout this nice and quick. Warps in two Stalkers, but they are not there in time. Units already getting dropped out. Stalker's gonna have to back out. The War Prism coming in as well. This is just with two Zealots to counterattack quickly if possible. The Colossi coming back. They're gonna be able to scare away these two medevacs full of units. And the Zealots in the main base of HeroMarine, they're doing some work. So far, 4 workers, 5 workers killed. The War Prism will fall though, and that is a bit of a shame. Having that go down really will start to hurt. Meanwhile, third base up and running, and this is a massive advantage. Like, as advantages go, this is basically like taking a cannon to a knife fight. It gives Socke just such a better position and a better footing to start this mid-game off in. He's got a lot more production. He's going to be able to really produce consistently, pump out a lot of tech. These double upgrades already on their way. And this is really reminiscent of game number 1, with Socke taking a very powerful position after a risky early game. A couple more Stalkers waiting around in case these double medevacs decide to try and come up into the main base. They are going to go for it, but the Stalkers blink into action. Unfortunately, unable to take down one of those medevacs though. The army for HeroMarine is now moving forward. Sees the Observer, will use a scan to take that down. But it also means that Socke knows for sure, and HeroMarine knows for sure, that Socke has seen this army. He knows about the Vikings. He knows that he's got to be a little bit careful about that. The Stalker count is not that high. Only 12 of them on the field. And 2-2 is not yet done. It's still about 50... Sorry, actually... Yeah. No, 60 seconds away from completion. So a whole minute that really Socke will want to stall for, because at the moment, he's tired of the 1-1 upgrades. Comes forward. SCV pool coming through here as well from HeroMarine. He's all in at this stage without a third base. He's got to make this work. Can Socke engage this army. The Stalkers backing away as the SCVs come moving through. Quick blink up onto the high ground. We do have the Vikings getting taken down before their first volley even goes off. One Colossus is going to fall. The other Colossi still standing for the moment. A hallucinated one coming into the mix. The infantry is very sizable here. The SCV shield has been taken down, but Socke loses all of his army, and HeroMarine just going for a devastatingly effective push off of these two bases with the SCV pool is able to crush through his opponent's army, take down his third Nexus, and probably win the game. Socke trying to scramble some last few defensive units, but it just is not going to be enough. HeroMarine may be able to buy himself, or may have to work a little bit longer to do this, but down goes that Colossus as it pops out. And with that, unfortunately for Socke, there isn't really anything he can do. He's so far down in the supply, loses his natural base, and that puts him a base down. His main will be pretty low. The probe's getting taken out. A couple of gateway units coming down to meet thy maker. But HeroMarine, he's in a good position. He's even landed those Vikings. Another Colossus about to pop out, but there's nothing to defend it. GG is called, and HeroMarine takes game number 3 of this best of 3, and therefore will advance forward.